What if I told you there's an invisible wall blocking all your potential? A wall that you've built yourself and that you can tear down today to release a level of success you've never experienced before. The comfort zone is the most comfortable prison that exists, but it's still a prison. Napoleon Hill discovered this after studying the brightest minds of his time. Comfort is the silent enemy of progress. Today, you're going to learn how to break that cycle of mediocrity forever. What you're about to hear will radically change the way you perceive your limitations. They're not what you think they are. And when you understand this, your life will never be the same again. Most people live trapped in patterns that are familiar, but prevent them from growing. They stay in jobs they hate, in relationships that drain them, in situations that limit them, all because of fear of the unknown. Napoleon Hill said, "The comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing grows there." And he was right. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to constantly move forward while others stagnate year after year? The difference lies in their relationship with discomfort. Successful people have learned to embrace the discomfort of growth, while average people do everything possible to avoid it. The first step to breaking your comfort zone is recognizing that discomfort is not your enemy, but your greatest ally. Every time you feel that internal resistance, that knot in your stomach when facing something new or challenging, you're not feeling a signal to retreat. You're feeling the door that leads to your evolution. Napoleon Hill expressed it perfectly. Strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle. Think about it. Remember the last time you did something that terrified you. Maybe speaking in public, starting a business, or confronting a difficult situation. How did you feel afterward? Probably stronger, more capable, more alive. That feeling is not a coincidence. It's evidence that you're expanding the limits of what you believe possible for yourself. Each time you push those limits, your comfort zone expands, and what once seemed impossible now forms part of your new normal. Imagine you're afraid of public speaking. The first time you stand in front of an audience, your heart beats so hard you feel it might explode. Your hands shake, your voice breaks, but you keep going. The second time is a little less terrifying. By the 10th time, you no longer feel that paralyzing fear, but an energizing excitement. You've converted your fear zone into your growth zone. Do this exercise right now. Identify something you've been postponing out of fear or discomfort, something you know would help you grow, but scares you. Now repeat this phrase: I choose the discomfort of growth over the comfort of stagnation. Remember this every time you feel tempted to retreat from a challenge. If you really want to transform your life, you need to subscribe to this channel right now. We're building a community of people committed to their personal growth, and you deserve to be part of it. Hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss any video that could be exactly what you need to hear at the precise moment. Real change begins when you understand that your mind is your biggest obstacle, but also your most powerful tool. And this is where the power of firm decision comes into play, and that's what we'll talk about in the next point. Most people don't understand the transformative power of a real decision. I'm not talking about those passing wishes or New Year's resolutions that fade by February. I'm talking about a decision that cuts off all possibilities of turning back. Napoleon Hill called it the definite point of decision, and claimed that when a man makes a definite decision, the entire universe conspires to help him. Have you noticed how some people seem to manifest opportunities out of nowhere? It's not luck or coincidence. It's the direct result of having made such a clear and definite decision that their subconscious mind begins to work tirelessly to make it a reality. The problem is that most of us live in a state of semi-decision. We say we want success, but we keep a plan B just in case. We say we want health, but we leave room for exceptions. We say we want deep relationships, but we're not willing to be vulnerable. This ambivalence is the poison of progress. Napoleon Hill studied more than 500 of the most successful people of his time and discovered a common pattern. They had all experienced a moment of crystal-clear decision, a point of no return where they burned their ships and committed totally to their vision. Henry Ford decided he would create an automobile accessible to the masses when everyone told him it was impossible. Thomas Edison decided he would find a way to create artificial light, no matter how many failed attempts he had. Think about your own life. When was the last time you made an irrevocable decision, a decision where there was no plan B? Those are the decisions that redefine the course of your existence. Decision is so powerful because it eliminates internal friction. When you're divided, you spend an enormous amount of mental energy debating with yourself. Should I do this? What if I fail? What if there's a better way? This internal dialogue consumes your willpower and leaves you exhausted before you even begin. In contrast, when you make a definitive decision, all that mental energy is freed and aligned in a single direction. There's no longer internal debate, there's only focused action. As Hill said, "The world makes way for the man who knows where he's going." Here's a practical exercise to strengthen your decision muscle. Choose an area of your life where you've been postponing an important decision. Now take a piece of paper and write, "I," your name, "definitely decide that I am going to your decision." Sign this commitment and place it where you can see it every day. This simple but powerful act sends a clear signal to your subconscious mind that there's no turning back. Remember, a decision without action is just an illusion. Once you decide, you must act immediately, no matter how small that first step. Napoleon Hill insisted, "Don't wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you are, with what you have, and that will always be better than not starting." Do you feel that something is holding you back despite your decisions? Maybe it's your subconscious habits, and we'll talk precisely about this invisible power in the next point. Habits are the silent architects of your destiny. Every day you perform hundreds of actions on autopilot without even noticing. The way you get up, how you respond to challenges, the thoughts you allow in your mind. These are all habits that, over time, determine who you are and what you achieve. Napoleon Hill expressed it perfectly. We are what we do repeatedly. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. This simple truth contains the key to transforming any area of your life. The problem is that most of us don't consciously choose our habits. We simply acquire them along the way, absorbing patterns from our environment, our upbringing, and our experiences. And when we try to change them, we encounter fierce resistance. Why is it so difficult to change a habit? Because habits reside in the deepest part of your subconscious mind. They're like rivers that have carved canyons in the landscape of your brain. Changing a habit isn't just deciding to do something different, it's redirecting the flow of a powerful river. But here's the good news. Once you understand how the subconscious mind works, you can deliberately reprogram it. Napoleon Hill discovered that persistent repetition of thoughts and actions is the way to imprint them in the subconscious. Think about some habit you've managed to establish successfully in the past. Maybe it's exercising regularly, reading before bed, or practicing meditation. Remember how at first it required conscious effort, but eventually became automatic. That's the power of consistent repetition. The key to breaking your comfort zone through habits is understanding that you must be willing to be temporarily uncomfortable to achieve a new permanent comfort. It's like moving to a new house. At first, everything feels strange and out of place, but over time, it becomes your home. Hill taught us that any idea, plan, or purpose can be fixed in the mind through repetition of thought. This means that if you want to become someone who embraces challenges instead of avoiding them, you must repeat brave thoughts and actions until they become your new nature. Here's a powerful exercise to reprogram your habits. Identify a limiting habit you want to change. It could be procrastinating, doubting yourself, or avoiding social situations. Now, define the opposite habit you want to cultivate. For the next 21 days, consciously practice this new habit, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. Remember, you're not trying to be perfect. You're training your subconscious mind to recognize a new pattern. As Hill said, persistence is to character what carbon is to steel. With each repetition, you're forging a stronger version of yourself. A trick that few know is the power of visualization to accelerate this process. Before going to sleep each night, spend 5 minutes visualizing yourself executing your new habit with ease and confidence. Your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one, so these visualizations act as additional repetitions. If you're finding value in these ideas, make sure to like this video and share it with someone who might benefit. Together, we can create a wave of personal growth that elevates our entire community. But what happens when you face inevitable obstacles on your path of growth? That's where the power of unwavering persistence comes into play, and that's what we'll talk about in the next point. There's a quality that separates achievers from dreamers, those who make history from those who simply exist. It's not talent, intelligence, or even luck. It's unwavering persistence. Napoleon Hill considered it the most important quality for success after studying the lives of people like Edison, Ford, and Carnegie. Persistence is the ability to maintain action despite your fears, obstacles, failures, and the opinion of others. It's continuing when everything inside you screams to give up. In Hill's words, persistence is an attitude of the mind, therefore it can be cultivated. The fascinating thing is that most people give up just before success is about to arrive. Hill discovered that many great achievements occurred right after moments of intense difficulty, when it seemed that all was lost. He called this phenomenon the 3 feet of gold, based on a story about a miner who abandoned his claim when he was just 3 feet away from discovering a vein of gold. Have you ever wondered how many times in your life you've been just 3 feet from gold? How many opportunities, relationships, or projects did you abandon that could have flourished if you had persisted a little longer? The reason persistence is so rare is because it goes against our biological programming. We're designed to conserve energy and avoid pain. When something requires sustained effort and offers uncertain or distant rewards, our brain urges us to abandon it. It's a survival mechanism that was useful in the African savanna, but sabotages our potential in the modern world. Hill identified 4 essential steps to develop persistence. First, have a definite purpose backed by a burning desire to fulfill it. Second, create a clear plan and take immediate action. Third, close your mind to all negative influence, including discouragement from friends and family. And fourth, ally yourself with people who support you and encourage you to move forward. Think about the most successful people you know personally. Aren't they also the most persistent? Not necessarily the brightest or most talented, but those who simply don't accept no as a final answer. As Hill said, the no's you receive are the rungs of your ladder to success. Here's a practical exercise to strengthen your persistence. Identify the biggest obstacle you're currently facing on your path to an important goal. Now, instead of seeing it as a barrier, reimagine it as a test specifically designed for you. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this challenge? How is it preparing me for my future success? This perspective transforms your obstacles from barriers into springboards. As Hill taught, every adversity, every failure, and every heartache carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. A powerful habit you can develop is that of celebrating your persistences more than your successes. The next time you persist through a difficulty, no matter how small, take a moment to acknowledge yourself. Tell yourself, this is what greatness in action looks like. This is the person I'm becoming. Persistence will take you further than talent, education, or connections. As Hill said, effort only fully releases its rewards after a person refuses to quit. But what fuels that unwavering persistence day after day, year after year? It's the power of transcendent purpose, and that's what we'll talk about in the next point. There's a driving force more powerful than money, recognition, or even material success. It's transcendent purpose, that deep reason that drives you to get up every morning and sustains you during the darkest moments. Napoleon Hill discovered this by observing that truly extraordinary people were not motivated only by personal gain, but by a vision that surpassed them. The man who dies richest is the one who has given the most, wrote Hill, understanding that true wealth comes from contribution, not accumulation. Transcendent purpose is like a magnet that attracts resources, people, and opportunities that would otherwise be inaccessible. When you operate from a purpose bigger than yourself, 2 surprising things happen. First, your own limits seem to dissolve, allowing you to access reserves of energy, creativity, and resilience you didn't know you had. And second, people feel your conviction and authenticity, which makes them want to help you succeed. Think about Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., or Nelson Mandela. They didn't have armies or great wealth, but they moved entire nations because their purpose transcended their personal interests. Or consider visionary entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs, whose purpose of making a dent in the universe inspired multitudes to follow him, even when his methods were questionable. The problem is that many of us confuse goals with purpose. Goals are things you want to achieve or acquire: a promotion, a house, a specific amount of money. Purpose, on the other hand, is the fundamental reason behind those goals, the why that gives meaning to your life. As Hill said, "Money without purpose is like a ship without a rudder." Have you noticed how some people tirelessly pursue material success only to feel empty when they finally achieve it? This happens when goals are disconnected from a deeper purpose. Money, status, and possessions can give you momentary satisfaction, but only a meaningful purpose can give you lasting happiness. The good news is that you don't need to change the entire world to have a transcendent purpose. Your purpose can be as simple as being the best possible parent, helping others overcome the same challenges you've faced, or creating beauty in a world that often lacks it. Hill taught us that discovering your purpose requires honest introspection. He suggested asking yourself these questions: what do I love doing so much that I would do it without pay? In what areas have I consistently received positive feedback? What injustice or problem deeply moves me? If I had unlimited resources, to what cause would I dedicate my life? Here's a powerful exercise to connect with your purpose. Imagine it's your 80th birthday and your loved ones are celebrating your life. What would you like them to say about you? What legacy do you want to leave? What difference do you want to have made in the world? The answers to these questions contain important clues about your purpose. Once you identify your purpose, it's crucial that you articulate it clearly. Napoleon Hill recommended writing it down and reading it aloud every morning and every night. What the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, he affirmed. And this practice helps engrave your purpose in your subconscious mind. Remember that your purpose can evolve over time, and that's okay. The important thing is that it's authentically yours, not something imposed by the expectations of others or social norms. As Hill said, you cannot build a reputation on what you are going to do. If this video is helping you reflect on your own purpose, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more content that will support you on your journey of self-discovery and growth. We're building a community of purpose-driven people who are transforming their lives and the world around them. But how can you maintain clarity and focus on your purpose when the world is full of distractions? This brings us to the power of the mastermind, and that's what we'll talk about in the next point. In a world designed to scatter your attention in 1,000 directions, the ability to maintain unwavering focus is perhaps the most valuable competitive advantage you can develop. Napoleon Hill knew this well, which is why he dedicated an entire chapter of Think and Grow Rich to the concept of the mastermind, which he described as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the achievement of a definite purpose. The idea is simple but revolutionary. No mind by itself can reach its maximum potential. We need the synergy that's created when like-minded people unite with a common purpose. As Hill said, two or more people dedicated to the same purpose become practically invincible. Have you noticed how some of your best ideas have emerged during conversations with other people? Or how you feel more motivated and capable after spending time with people who believe in you and challenge you to be better? This is not a coincidence, it's the principle of the mastermind in action. The power of the mastermind operates on multiple levels. On a practical level, it gives you access to knowledge, perspectives, and resources that go beyond your own capabilities. On a psychological level, it provides you with emotional support, accountability, and motivation when your own determination falters. And on a spiritual or energetic level, Hill believed that when minds align in harmony, they create a third brain that is more than the sum of its parts. The problem is that many of us try to do everything alone, whether out of pride, fear of vulnerability, or simple ignorance of the power of collaboration. We isolate ourselves in our own limitations when we could be leveraging the collective wisdom and momentum of others. Napoleon Hill insisted that practically all great achievements, whether business, scientific, or artistic, are the result of masterminds, not solitary geniuses. Thomas Edison had a team of brilliant scientists. Henry Ford surrounded himself with experts in various fields. Even seemingly solitary artists like Picasso were part of creative circles that stimulated their genius. The good news is that you can begin to apply this principle immediately, regardless of where you are on your path. Hill suggested starting with a small group, even just one person with whom you share a natural affinity and complementary goals. Here's a practical exercise to create your own mastermind. Identify 3 to 5 people you admire, who share your values and who are committed to their own growth. They could be colleagues, friends, mentors, or even new connections. Invite them to form a group that meets regularly, in person or virtually, to share ideas, challenges, and resources. Clearly define the purpose of your mastermind. It could be professional development, spiritual growth, health improvement, or any area where everyone wants to advance. Establish a structure for your meetings: frequency, duration, format. Hill recommended weekly or bi-weekly meetings with a clear but flexible agenda. The most important thing is to create an environment of absolute trust and mutual support. As Hill said, harmony is the key to the power of the mastermind. This means listening without judging, offering honest but constructive feedback, and genuinely celebrating the successes of others. If you can't find people in your immediate environment who share your vision, consider joining online communities, mentorship programs, or even creating a virtual mastermind by studying the biographies and teachings of great thinkers. Napoleon Hill himself claimed to have created an imaginary mastermind with historical figures like Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Edison, consulting them in his mind for guidance and wisdom. Remember that your mastermind should evolve as you evolve. Don't be afraid to make changes to the group if the energy or focus strays. As Hill said, your success is directly related to the power of your mastermind. An important warning: choose the members of your mastermind with extreme care. A single negative or toxic person can sabotage the entire dynamic of the group. As Hill taught us, we are what we think, but we are also influenced by the thoughts of those with whom we frequently associate. When you implement the power of the mastermind, you discover that breaking your comfort zone becomes easier because you're no longer doing it alone. You have a support system, a safety net that allows you to take bigger risks and recover faster from inevitable failures. Always remember that, as Hill said, no notable success can be achieved without the cooperation of other people. True greatness is never a solitary achievement. Now, after exploring these 5 transformative principles, we arrive at a fundamental truth about breaking your comfort zone and unleashing your growth. Comfort is the silent enemy of your potential. Each day you choose to remain where you are, safe but stagnant, you're renouncing the extraordinary person you could become. Napoleon Hill spent decades studying the brightest minds of his time and came to an unequivocal conclusion. Growth comes from discomfort. There are no exceptions to this rule. Think about all the excuses you've given yourself to stay where you are. It's not the right time. I don't have enough resources. What if I fail? What will others think? These are the invisible chains that keep you trapped in mediocrity. The truth is that there will never be a perfect moment. People who achieve extraordinary things don't wait for ideal conditions. They create their own conditions. As Hill said, don't wait. The time will never be exactly right. What you've learned today is a map to escape your self-imposed prison. First, understanding that discomfort is not your enemy, but the sign that you're growing. Second, making a definitive decision that cuts off all possibilities of turning back. Third, reprogramming your subconscious habits to align with your new vision. Fourth, developing unwavering persistence that keeps you moving forward despite obstacles. And fifth, connecting with a transcendent purpose and creating a mastermind that amplifies your power and accountability. These principles have transformed ordinary people into extraordinary ones throughout history. They don't require special talent, privileged education, or favorable circumstances. They only require your commitment and consistent application. The question now is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue living in the comfortable prison of the known, or will you have the courage to break through the wall that separates you from your greatness? Napoleon Hill observed that there are 2 types of people in the world: those who wait for things to happen and those who make things happen. Which do you choose to be? If this message has resonated with you, if you feel that urge to finally break your chains, I invite you to do something right now. Write in the comments, "I choose the discomfort of growth over the comfort of stagnation." This simple act is a public declaration of your commitment to your own potential. Remember, the universe responds to decisive action. As Hill said, the moment you definitely commit yourself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help you that would never otherwise have occurred. Don't let this be just another video you watch and forget. Let it be the catalyst for real transformation in your life. Subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Together we can create a community of people committed to their personal growth, supporting each other to reach extraordinary levels of success and fulfillment. The path won't be easy. There will be days when you'll want to give up and return to the comfort of the familiar. In those moments, remember the words of Napoleon Hill: "Strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle." Your comfort zone is a prison with an open door. You've always had the power to leave. Now you have the map. The rest is up to you.